Moving on to the speaking tutorials, as you can see, these come at the end of the unit. So this is an opportunity for the students to put everything they have been studying into practice, talking about things related to the topic of the unit. Here is the speaking tutorial in this unit and the outline of what the tutor and student talk about. So starting with the greetings and chat, then the tutor asks if the student has any questions about their written work and feedback, and then move on to the discussion. As you can see, the students are given two alternatives to choose from, just like they are in Writing Tutorial 2. So we have the two general topics and then possible prompts for each of the topics. And, as for the writing tutorials, here is a checklist for speaking tutorials. First, find out if the student prefers Skype or the phone. Then, very importantly, before you do the tutorial, look at the corresponding section of the tutor's manual to see what the unit is about, the language focused on, and prompts to structure the tutorial. So, as you would with any one-to-one lesson, start with greetings and general chat. Then ask if there are any questions on the written feedback received or questions about anything else in the unit. Then the learner chooses one of the two conversation options. These appear in the unit as well as in the tutor's guide. The next point is to remember that the speaking tutorial is a valuable opportunity for the student to put all the language he or she has been practicing to use, talking about things that are related to the topic of the unit. It's a good idea to maintain this focus, so that the student sees the direct connection between the contents of the unit and the speaking tutorial. Obviously, it's important to be flexible as well, as really the most important thing is that the student speaks and is motivated to do so. So there is also the opportunity for the student to deviate at times from what you have planned. However, it's best not to get too sidetracked from the tutorial guidelines. Next, very importantly, take notes as you do the speaking tutorial. These will be on useful words or expressions that come up, language that can be corrected, including pronunciation, and also any relevant information that the student mentions. For example, if the student tells you that she is going on a trip or something like that, it's good to remember that and ask how it went in the following tutorial. Time the tutorial, so 20 minutes speaking time. Then, at the end of the tutorial, when you send your feedback, you give a mark out of 20 for the speaking tutorial. And finally, sign off with reference to the next point of contact, which would be Writing Tutorial 1 in the following unit once the student has finished the unit and done the unit test. Good, so moving on to the criteria for marking speaking tutorials. This is broken down in a similar way to the marking in Writing Tutorial 2, where we have different areas to focus on. This is to help you give a balanced assessment and give a fair mark. So, taking into account the level of the student, we suggest allocating marks for fluency, pronunciation in terms of intelligibility, interaction skills including comprehension, the student understanding what you say and reacting appropriately, or being able to ask for help if they don't understand, grammatical accuracy and complexity, and finally, vocabulary range. In terms of feedback, we suggest that you open a Word document, so you have one for each student you have, and as you talk to them you can take notes on new language that comes up and on things you would like to correct or draw attention to, including pronunciation. So when you get to the end of the speaking tutorial, all you have to do is tidy up your notes and send a copy to the students as feedback. In this way, you keep a record of these notes, so that the next time you have a tutorial with a student, you can have a quick look back to remind yourself of who this person is and what you talked about before. Here is an example of what this feedback can look like. As I mentioned before, this could be a template that you copy and adapt for each tutorial. So, starting with the greeting and chat, responding to what the student has talked about, and then a general comment. Then below, the notes, in this case, organized under different headings. Useful language, things to correct, and a couple of pronunciation tips. How you go about this is up to you, as long as your feedback is clear, useful, and easy for the student to follow. And again, it's the same idea as when giving writing feedback. It's all about being encouraging, being constructive, and giving useful guidance. At the end of the feedback, you give a mark out of 20 and refer to the next point of contact. For low levels, pre-elementary and elementary, we provide scripts for the tutor and student to follow during the speaking tutorial. This is to structure the tutorial and make it easier for the student to participate. As you can see, it includes a semi-scripted initiation of the call, options for speaking about the unit, and then words and phrases to practice, followed by question and answer activities for simple discussions. Good, so that covers all aspects of tutoring. We calculate 1 hour of tutoring time per student per unit, so that's 15 minutes on each writing tutorial and 30 minutes on speaking tutorials, 20 minutes speaking, 10 minutes sending feedback. Finally, the next part of this tutor training course is the practical part. This is where you read sample written work from a student for writing tutorials 1 and 2, and then write your feedback and send it to your tutor trainer via the NetLanguages platform. At the end of this training module, you will find the link to ask for trial NetLanguages access codes and also to be sent the tutor training task. That's the end of this training video on how to tutor on NetLanguages courses.